What's up, Kengan fans? I'm here today to talk to you guys about the real tournament, the current arc going on in Kengan Omega, and why I think it's great. Not only that, I have one other point to make in this video. It's more of a question, really. It's why do other people think it's not? Or straight up hate it? I'm waiting. Seriously, comment section. It's time to go to work because, honestly, I just finished doing the chapter 267 live reaction. That'll already be up on the channel long before this video comes out anyways. And I urge you to definitely go check that out. Plus, spoiler warnings ahead for anybody who's not caught up to the current chapter 267 of Kengan Omega. Probably going to be talking about all that stuff right here where we're talking about the current arc in the real tournament. But yeah, a little bit of background on why I want to make this video. There's two key points in that. Number one is that at the beginning when I started the chapter 267 video, I said I'm going to, I started off my intro and then I talked about, the real tournament for what I thought was only a couple minutes. Then I realized I was 8 minutes deep, hadn't even gotten to the live reaction yet, and I still wasn't done talking. And I said, okay, this has got to be a separate video. So what I did was I scrapped that part, started the intro again, and did the live reaction separate. But I did mention in that video that I had some stuff to talk about in regards to the real tournament, plus the negativity and the toxicity of the current Kengan community, at least where parts that I've seen. The other part is that I've currently been rereading Kengan Ashura, and the reason is to make a separate discussion video. I have this big video planned. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but I needed to do a lot of research, more than Wikipedia could help me with. So I basically needed to take notes and reread the chapters of Ashura to make sure I had all my fact checks in a row, sort of idea, right? So I'm still working on that and stuff, and I'm currently up to the end, basically, of round 1 of the Annihilation Tournament currently. And I think that what that did was give me a new appreciation, especially for the fights here in the real tournament, but specifically fight number 2 that everyone has been shitting on. And, okay, we're going to get into this because, yeah, nobody's going to like what I'm about to say. Or some of you might, but I have a feeling looking at the current, climate, the Discords, the Reddits, the YouTube comment sections and stuff, a lot of you gonna feel called out, so bring on the dislikes. Let's go. The real tournament is great. I said it. The real tournament is a good tournament with so far 2.5 good fights. Because obviously we're only into the 3rd fight, and I already really liked the last chapter. So Can I ask the community one thing? Can I ask you, the community, one thing? Why don't you like the real tournament? Because once again, maybe I'm in the wrong Reddits. Maybe I'm in the wrong Discords. Maybe I'm watching the wrong people. But for every one person who says, oh, that fight was pretty good, I kind of like that fight. For everyone who's like, that was a 6 or 7. I'm going to keep reading. For every person who even likes a fight or says, oh no, I really like this fight. I think that was a really solid fight. There are at least a dozen people saying this fight is shit. Sandro doesn't care. Daro's art sucks. It's all AI generated. Where's the worm plot line, going crazy? I just don't get it anymore. I just don't. Why are you reading this manga? Shut up. If you're not enjoying it, stop reading. Leave. It's very simple. Alright? I feel like at this point I should include the Ferris Bueller's Day Off thing. Like, what are you still doing here? Leave. Go home. Get out of here, because I want to talk to you guys, and this is what I don't understand, because all I've read so far is negativity. And I just realized after reading, I just want to give you guys some background. I've been rereading Ashura, right? The one that everybody praises. KVP sucked, Berserker Bowl sucked, and this tournament sucks, right? But the Annihilation Tournament, 11 out of 10. best tournament you'll ever read in manga history, according to Kengan fans, quote unquote. Same people shitting on everything that Omega's done, right? Okay. Well, I've been rereading it. I'm up to round 2. I'm started round 2. And I've been doing it for a separate discussion video, one that I've been doing a lot of research for because I don't want to get my facts wrong and stuff like that. So basically my best bet is basically to reread it and save all the relevant quotes and page numbers and etc. and just go through it like a proper discussion video, just so I don't have misinformation. There's only so much you can get off a Wikipedia entry, right? So I've been doing that, and actually, ever since reading round 1 and completing round 1, I found a brand new appreciation for the real tournament, especially because what are people actually bitching about? Let's talk about Gao Lang versus Arashiyama. A fantastic fight that now I rate at easily an 8.5 out of 10. Maybe even a 9. A couple of reasons for this. First off, already plenty of pedigree behind these two fighters, right? We already know that these guys are top tier fighters. The match is going to be close. The match is going to be good. And it is. It's 100% good. It's a great fight. What I think people don't like is for some reason they wanted it beaten and bloody and not decided by 1 or 2 moves. I question, those same people, do you think that every fight in Kengan is supposed to be Waka versus Julius? Is it supposed to be Meathead versus Meathead? Is that what you're expecting? Because Arashiyama and Gao Lang are what you would refer to as, first off, top tier martial artists. Not bodybuilders, not strength, not Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger going at it. This isn't the Expendables. They're precision fighters. One wrong move, they're chess masters. This was a chess match in a martial arts ring. One wrong move, something tilted just a little bit this way or a little bit that way, spelled game over. And that's exactly what happened. We got the introduction of pre-initiative isn't everything. This is great. It's just like, it was a fantastic thing to showcase that not everyone in the world needs pre-initiative to be the best, because that's a problem with power scaling in fighting mangas in general, and shonen mangas especially, is that if you don't have this one thing that everybody has, if you're not a Super Saiyan, you're left behind. You know what I mean? You either get that or you don't, and then you're never going to be relevant again. Kengan had this problem sometimes, but all of a sudden it was like, no, we actually don't, because we've introduced, no, you don't need the advance, you don't need removal, you don't need pre-initiative to be the best, like no one ever was. So all this fight proved is that you can be a top tier fighter. Gao Lang apparently has or could use or obtain pre-initiative very easily, but he doesn't need it. He's the foresight killer because he's a top tier martial artist. This round 1 was fantastic for showcasing this, and that was so dangerous. Dorota, on the other hand, also a master of using the swing technique, but also a user of pre-initiative. But by relying on pre-initiative, a lot of his arsenal is cut off because Gao Lang can beat it. So since we've established and confirmed you can beat pre-initiative, and not in the same way that Agito and Kuroki did it, in the sense that my pre-initiative is better than your pre-initiative. No, this is simply, I'm not using it, you can't either, because if you use it, I'm going to beat you. So you take away a master thing that I'm sure that a lot of people start relying on, master level martial artists rely on. So this was a chess match. This was a mind game. This was a great fight. This was an intellectual fight. It was who's going to get the upper hand, who's going to read the prediction without the pre-initiative magic, of Kengan, who's going to actually out foresight the other one just with the old, gray matter between your two ears. That made it great. And it was going to be decided by one move. It always was going to be that. So I don't see why anybody has a problem with that fight. That fight was precision. It was chess versus chess. And one person came out on top. It was great. It was fantastic. Once again, 8.5 at least. Then we get to the second match, which my initial argument is still a little sound, but now I've gone back on this, is that it's against two unknowns. We're going into the real tournament. Should it have been basically all familiar faces? Yeah, okay. I see that argument. At the very least, I see that argument. And especially having two new faces and they have a matchup against each other, we have no reference for them. So that's a bit of an issue. I get it. However, if this was not a sequel manga, would anybody bitch? That is my only question. Would anybody actually bitch? Because I've been rereading round 1 and we didn't know fuck all about a lot of these characters. And I'd like to point out just a couple of round 1 matches that ended in complete just debauchery. Just complete like one-sided beatdowns. I mean, the Nezu fight springs to mind just a little bit. I'm thinking Setsuna a little bit there in his round 1 fight. I'm thinking Rahito, Kuroki taking pity on him in that fight. Gao Lang, the same idea. Waka versus Kosa. I mean, it just boggles the mind to me because, I was the first one to say that stuff. It's like the one problem with that fight wasn't the fact that we had a racist twink boy up against such a cooler character. But it's that character was obviously going to win and blah, blah, blah. And then people hated the fight. But I'm like, this is no different from everything they did in the Annihilation Tournament. In the Annihilation Tournament, round 1, what we did was some matchups aren't good. Sometimes you're going to have a C tier up against an A tier. And it's just overwhelming better. They're just a better fighter. They are going to dwarf you. They are going to be so much better than you. And that's what's happening here. What actually happened in round 2 was that we built up this guy no different than the Annihilation Tournament. And all of a sudden, what happened? Justin took a few hits. They looked like it hurt. And he one hit KO'd this guy. It's no different from what a lot of fan favorite characters did in round 1 of the Annihilation Tournament. So why are you bitching? Shut up. It was fine. Unless you also say that the Annihilation Tournament round 1s all sucked, that any one-sided fight sucks, then you obviously don't rank the Annihilation Tournament very high. And if you didn't rank literally, it's the entire manga pretty much, okay? If you don't like the Annihilation Tournament, or you think the Annihilation Tournament is like a 6 or 7 out of 10, why you continue to read the sequel series up to 200 chapters is completely beyond my comprehension. Okay? I fully want to know what's going through your brain when you decide, you know what, there are a million things I could do, read, or figure out today. I'm going to read a manga that I absolutely hate and think the writing is trash. Why do you do that to yourself every Wednesday? And not only do that, see, because that would take about, 3-4 minutes out of your day if you just scan through the chapter every week. But then, you're not just taking those, 5 minutes out of your day. Because then, what do? Because these people make their voices known. They go forth on the Reddits, the Discords, the YouTubes. They go forth and they tell people their negative opinion. Julius sucks. Justin's weird. Winning one hit. His neck muscle, that was stupid. The choreography sucks. This sucks. That sucks. Okay. So how many more minutes are you taking out of your day? I'm just curious. At this point, I am just curious. Because once again, the real tournament has done nothing that the Annihilation Tournament didn't already do. We had very precision matches in rounds 1 and 2 of the Annihilation Tournament, and they were praised. We had very one-sided, decisive fights in the same idea for the second fight. And now we're starting off with a matchup that a lot of power scalers should be, their panties should be so wet right now over this. Is Julius's idea of techniques and Nico and all this crap that everyone hates, by the way, you guys should be crazy right now for Julius to prove that right. His whole mythology of, or his methodology of overwhelming strength will defeat technique. If you just need to be strong enough, that much stronger. And overwhelming strength will defeat anything. It won't matter. And granted, I'm not in that camp, but some power scalers are, and they should be extremely happy about this fight. But I've already seen people complain about this fight. The fight's barely started, and already all I don't see anybody happy that, oh, what's Agito's new formless form? What's Yamagohan talking about? Any of that? No. What am I seeing? Bitching. So I'm trying to figure out, why are people so negative about the real tournament? Seriously, that's my question. That's the whole point of this video, because the first fight, Galang versus Arashiyama, 8 out of 10 easy, if not 9. I already said I like that fight, and I don't understand the complaints. This is not Waka versus Julius. These are two precision fighters. Chess master, martial artist. One wrong move, slightly this way or that way, spells disaster in the end of the fight. That's what it is to be an expert, a master martial artist. And maybe people forgot this. Maybe I really feel like the Kengan community as a whole should go back and read Ashura and tell me, do you really love the Annihilation Tournament, or do you only like 3 or 4 fights from it? Or do you only like Kano Agito versus Kuroki Gensai? Is that what you expect? That quality level of art, 11 out of 10 art, 11 out of 10 choreography, 11 out of 10 fight. You expect that every single fight. Because I feel like that's the only excuses these people have for negativity. There was nothing wrong with Galang. I am convinced now there was actually nothing wrong with the first fight. Galang versus Arashiyama was perfect. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. Yes, of course, it could be drawn better. But you want 11 out of 10 art. I call you spoiled. Sorry. You can argue that Daro's not putting in all his effort to this, and maybe he hasn't, but people lose passion all the time. Steven Spielberg has made bad movies. He's still an A-level director. You know? Every John Williams score isn't played at hockey games. Doesn't mean that John Williams is still not the greatest composer of the last century. So, I'm just sick and tired of hearing this complaint. You guys are just, like, either read it and shut up, or drop it and don't. I don't know what to tell you anymore. Now, despite that, I do actually want to understand the viewpoints of these people as to why they continue to be negative week to week, but also continue to read the manga. As someone who, if I don't enjoy the first season of a TV series, I generally don't start and watch and get excited for season 2. That's all I'm trying to say. So I don't understand this. Even the troll mindset, you know? I've never been a troll myself, but I don't understand that. Like, don't you even get tired of beating that dead horse week to week? Like, when does it get boring for you? When do you move on to the next thing because you don't love yourself enough? I don't know. I don't understand, even from a troll perspective. Eventually that's got to get boring, right? But either way, what I want to go over before I talk about the reasons as to why both these fights are good, and I'm looking very much forward to this current fight, Agito versus Julius, is let's just go over the common things. The common complaints that I've seen, and try to just understand them from some perspective here, because nobody's actually talking about anything in the fights. It's just the same complaints I've seen from before the real tournament started and currently while it's going on, you know? So let's just go over these common ones. So what do we have? We have Daro's lost his passion. Okay. The AI generated art, and the art's not as good. Okay, so that's kind of a 2-for-1 there. That's a 2-for-1. That's a Super Saiyan bargain sale if I ever saw one. We'll talk about that. We also have Sandro. His passion is also gone, and he's not writing, or his choreography, his writing, etc., etc. Sandro problems, right? Okay. The other thing is, of course, the worm plotline, right? Just the woo, the worm, whatever. Okay. Those would be, I would argue, are the kind of the 4 points, as I said, 2-for-1 with the Daro stuff. But yeah, those are the main complaints I've seen. Is the and the Sandra one's kind of a 2-for-1 as well. The choreography or writing, take your pick. So immediately, actually, the biggest one I want to talk about is actually the art one. So why don't we start with the easier ones to go through? The whole worm woo, plot lines that nobody seems to like. Okay, first and foremost, I don't have as much of a problem with it, so maybe that's the big thing. Maybe that's the big difference between me and other people who are having a huge problem right now with Kengan Omega, or Kengan in general, is that they can't stand anything involving the connector, the worm, the woo, anything like that. None of that's involved here. And everyone created this idea that the racist twink boy from the last fight was involved. Clearly was an undercurrent of a worm. Clearly was a Wu Clan member, and it was going to matter in the fight. So everybody hated him, and everybody hated the fight. But none of that came true. Yet none of those people came back and said, okay, maybe it wasn't that bad. No. Nobody comes back to apologize. It's the internet. So nobody came back to say, okay, maybe I was wrong and I shouldn't have shit on that. No. Nobody takes accountability on the internet. So right out of the gate, the worm woo thing, whether you like it or not, you think it's been better or worse or whatever, has zero relevance currently on the real tournament. So keep that complaint, one of the 5 complaints, off to the side. Doesn't exist so far. So that's 1 defeated. Number 2, choreography from Sandro. Honestly, no problems yet. Fighting like a judo practitioner. He's using swing. Gao Lang's fighting with Muay Thai and boxing. I mean, seriously, if you're complaining about the angles, that's more of a Daro thing than a Sandro thing. So the choreography, I mean, it's... I didn't see much of an issue there. I really didn't, personally. But once again, I'm not the fighting guru or anything like that, but I personally didn't find any problem with either fight as far as choreography went. And especially this third fight, so far the last chapter 267 was great with the angles and stuff like that. I thought the choreography of that so far, that last chapter, was great. So, I don't know about that. So, point number 4, if you can point out specifically why the choreography is bad in either fight, I would love to hear it in the comment section down below. So that's point number 4, sort of debatable, because obviously I'm missing something here. Point number 3 is Sandro's writing currently. Well, once again, he's in his element. Tournament. Gao Lang got a win against someone who already beat Agito. Great setup for Gao Lang versus... They even set it up at the end of round 1 fight, or the first fight. That Gao Lang is like, I always wanted a rematch with you, Kano Agito. And stuff like that. So we're setting it up. Let's go. This is good. And once again, I have a new appreciation. We'll talk about the second fight. But now we have Julius versus Agito, which is a fantastic setup because it's a power scaler's wet dream. They should be making their panties moist as fuck right now. Because Julius himself says, not Kano Agito, not Wakatsuki, not even Kuroki Gensai can beat overwhelming power fuck technique. You know what I mean? That's Julius's whole thing, is that if he's that much stronger than everyone else in the world, Nico style be damned. Formless be damned. Pre-initiative be damned. Devil Lance be damned. Principles be damned. All I need is this. We're finally going to see it in action against a martial artist. Have you guys realized that Julius had never actually fought against anybody who's... Like, yes, Wakatsuki is a martial artist, but they're both sort of strength, powerful, meathead sort of level fighters. He's never fought against a Nico style. He's never fought against a Roland, an Agito, an Oma or something. A top tier. Now, we're about to see how he's going to handle it. And how a top tier martial artist is going to fight against that overwhelming strength. You know? Because one good hit from Julius probably going to knock most of these guys the fuck out. So, that's fantastic. So, writing wise right now, fight 1 set up great rematch potential. Gave Gao Lang back his credibility. Giroda's was already there. Once again, we'll talk about Fight 2. And Fight 3 did a matchup that, power scalers should be thrilled about in the community. So far, writing-wise, I think we're okay. Am I wrong? So I really think... Alright, so point number 5, defeated. Point number 4, debatable. Point number 3, I would argue I've got a solid argument there for that one, right? Okay. So now we get to the main crux that I see so many people complain about. Daro's art/passion and the AI generated art. That's a 2-for-1. We're going to go with the 2-for-1 with that one. Okay. So, let's get into this one. Just because every single fight is not Kano Agito versus Kuroki Gensai painting level, you would put it up in your goddamn, on your wall, in your hallway of your home, level art, does not mean the art sucks or isn't good quality. And if you think that because the art isn't 11 out of 10 at the height of Daro's passion, obviously for the series, then you're a spoiled brat. I said it. I'm sorry. There's nothing wrong with Omega's art. Omega's art is totally acceptable, if not very good, week to week. There's very little wrong with it. Yes, shit is AI generated. I don't care. I don't. When the mistakes happen, they're missing a pinky finger or something, I think it's funny. You could make that... If you were to hand draw it, you could still potentially make that mistake. You know how many mistakes mangakas make week to week when they hand draw shit anyways? So, that... Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you were spoiled when Daro clearly was at the height of his both passion and artistic motivation. But it's still perfectly acceptable art. It's perfectly it's more than acceptable for a week-to-week manga. Okay? So, as far as that goes, you were spoiled, and now you're mad that you're not getting 37 presents for Christmas. Shut up. So that one out of the gate. Same with the AI generated art stuff. It's like, yeah, if I had an assistant tool, I'd be using it too. It's week to week. It's tiring. You know how many mangakas need to literally croak and work 7 days a week before people are like, oh no, we don't want people to die from this job, but we still want the highest level 11 out of 10 quality week to week. Yeah, see? Can't have it both ways. These same people that are going to bitch about using AI generated art and Daro's not, putting in his all. We don't know Daro's personal situation. We don't know what he's going through right now. Maybe he has lost his passion. Maybe he's got health concerns. Maybe he's got things going on in his personal life. We don't know. And you know what the worst part is? The loudest people going, mangakas are overworked. Look at what happened to the Berserk author. Look at what happened to this author. Look what happened to that author. You know, Akira Toriyama's dead. This, that. You know, the loudest people going, we should stop. You know, they shouldn't be working so hard, are the loudest people complaining. That's my problem. They are hypocritical, me people, and it's annoying, and I know exactly that that's exactly the type of negative people in the Kengan community, and it bothers me how hypocritical they seem to be. So, yeah, I said this wasn't going to be a fan favorite video. People are not going to like me right now. But I'm sorry, I'm just calling out the slugs. Calling you out. You know. And realistically speaking, if Daro has lost his passion for it, which we can all argue is evident, it's clear, is it still acceptable? Once again, it's not unfinished work. You know, the chapters still look good to me. The last chapter looked absolutely fine from an artistic standpoint, from a choreography standpoint, from a writing standpoint. Everything flowed together fine. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of it. We're just jumping from fight to fight. Let's go. I'm assuming after the fourth fight, we're going to take a break between round 1 of the tournament and round 2. Probably go back to Kuroki, Shen, and Oma chilling. The 3 kings chilling out at a campfire, eating something. You know, probably eating something that Kuroki killed with his bare goddamn hands. Or maybe he's literally eating bare hands. Who knows? But, yeah, like, seriously. This will be totally fine. And I don't understand. It's sort of like, once again, I think it's the spoiled mentality of people who enjoyed like the height of Ashura art, and we've never gone truly back to that. Once again, we don't know what's going on in Daro's life. We don't know what's happening with Daro necessarily, and maybe he's just lost passion. But I mean, I can count immediately if someone says, "What's the best, you know, steak you've ever had in your life," or whatever? You immediately, you know. What's the best burrito you ever had? What's the best taco? What's the best this? The best milkshake even. You immediately know. Or what was your best Friday night? What was the best movie you ever saw? What was your best, you know? People immediately have a memory from like 11 years ago, and they're like, oh yeah, there was this little shithole in the wall. I went there, I ordered these fish and chips that were fucking delicious, and it's still to this memory. And probably if you went back there, it would never do it justice. But you remember that. And my thing is that you don't stop eating and enjoying fish and chips just because you had this great fish and chips, and no fish and chips you've had for 11 years is as good, or steak or milkshake or whatever it is. I'm just using cooking because it's easy, but it's like, just because you experienced 11 out of 10 of a certain dish doesn't mean you stop eating. If you can't have that 11 out of 10 anymore, it sucks now. And that's the problem with the Kengan community right now. Because it's not 11, it's a 0. And that is a shitty mentality, and I just don't understand. Why? Once again, tell me, people, tell me. If you hate this so much, week to week, and all you want to do is troll, don't you get bored of trolling? And if trolling is not your intent, then why are you reading it? Why are you spoiling the enjoyment of others? I haven't been able to find a single Discord or Reddit or anywhere where I can literally just go, I'm having a good time with Kengan right now. Because there's too much negativity in all of them. And it's frustrating. It's annoying. And I just wonder why these toxic, negative people continue to read a series that's not as bad as they say. So if somebody could explain any of this to me, I would be more than happy for you to do that in the comment section down below. So as haphazard as all that was, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, or hit the dislike button if, once again, I hurt your precious feelings, knowing that the Kengan community is filled now with 80% of really negative, hateful people. So I won't be surprised if the dislike button gets hit a lot more than the like button. That being said, I do hope that those with half a brain cell did enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and definitely check out Kengan Omega. This tournament is good, guys. These fights are good. Just sit back, enjoy them. Don't allow the naysayers, don't allow the negativity to hit your brain, to hit your heart, to hit your reading comprehension. Because guess what? They're wrong. They're full of shit. And you heard it here first. So, that's all I gotta say. Real Tournament so far has been solid. It's been very good. And if you enjoy it, don't let the internet tell you not to. Anyway, that's it from me. Have a good one. Sayonara.